Made possible through support from ARC Thrift Stores, Colorado Access, Developmental Pathways, Dungarvan, and the Arc of Aurora.
A THINK+change training. Hey there, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode here with THINK+change. My name is Erica Dennison and I will be your host today. Whenever we do our podcasts, which are audio, or our vodcasts via video, anything that we roll out is always disability focused, and we always feel that we really want to continue to change knowledge, attitude, and behavior for people with developmental and other disabilities, their families, and the professionals in their lives. And so today's episode, I'm really excited. We have a really wonderful person from our local community here today, where we're going to have an episode talking about invisible disability and what that's like. We think it's so important to have people have the chance to share their own lived experience and to share their stories and perspectives so that we can continue to change attitudes near and far. So with all of that said, can you introduce yourself? Can you share with whoever may be tuning in what your name is and how old you are?
So I'm Xavion, and I'm 14 and a half years old, about to be 15, and I like to play basketball and play with the Rubik's Cube.
That's great. And what I'm really excited about for this particular episode is we've been doing podcasts and vodcasts for years. And Xavion is our very first guest who is a young adult. We always have met with people who are adults or people who are over 18. And so having you here today, I'm really excited about, because I think having people hear your perspective on things is really important. So thank you for being here, Xavion.
Yeah.
You're like, I got this.
Yeah.
I know he's got this. I know you said that you like to play basketball and you like to play with like a Rubik's Cube.
Mm-hmm.
What are three other fun things about yourself?
I like entrepreneurship, so like kind of like small crafts and then like selling it.
I love that.
I also like I also like making like kind of like little videos of like doing stuff. So like maybe I'll record myself obviously playing the Rubik's Cube, or I'll record myself like maybe drawing.
Okay.
But that doesn't really happen very often.
That's all right.
And I guess I also just like to hang out with my friends.
That's wonderful. I also like to hang out with my friends. I remember I had the chance to meet with Xavion a while back, and he shared that he is really into entrepreneurship. I think you described it as an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the examples of those entrepreneur ideas that you have?
Well,
Or are they super top secret?
One of them's top secret.
All right.
I can't share.
We're not going to share. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, so maybe like one of them is selling like candy or water, soda, like on the side of the street, and just like have people come by, or even lemonade, and just doing that. Or I have sold like popcorn on the side of the street, season it with some salt and like some popcorn seasoning. But yeah, and then I've also made like tie-dye shirts.
Oh, that's
and
great.
sold them. Or I can also, during like the summer or winters, mow the lawns, and also like snow plow or shovel driveways.
Shovel driveways.
I almost said shovel the grass.
I mean, it's Colorado. It does snow here during the summertime.
Yes.
So maybe you are shoveling grass.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you have an entrepreneurial spirit, though. I think that's always really important for people to know that even people with or without disabilities can be creatives, and they may have really wonderful ideas to kind of make change in their communities or for themselves. So I wish you much luck with your continued entrepreneurship and your super top secret one that apparently we're not going to share today, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Could you share with people tuning in what kind of invisible disability you have?
So I have autism spectrum disorder, and mine is non-visible. So like when I were to meet somebody, like say at the mall or talking to someone, they wouldn't really know that I have it, since like I try and think.
That's okay. Take your time.
Yeah. Silence. I can't think of anything.
That's okay. Well, what you shared with me is that you have autism spectrum disorder, and you described it as that it's an invisible disability. So if someone were to meet you, it's not obvious. And we've talked about this before, that like, what are some examples of like a disability that someone could see?
Somebody could obviously be in a wheelchair. There could be like deaf or blind people. Like blind people would obviously like have like a cane, which that's a visible disability.
Yeah.
Or somebody could have Down syndrome, or even have a service dog.
Exactly. Yeah. So like those are great examples of, I think a lot of times when people think of disability, they think of physical disability, like what can you see? And in your life, you have autism spectrum disorder, and people don't always see it. And so that's why we're here today, is so people understand that not all disabilities are visible and unique to you. Life looks a little bit different here and there, but I'm just grateful that you're here today to share with people kind of what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. What do you want people to know about autism?
That everybody's different, and not just one person, or like every single person is going to have like the same thing. Like some people might need help with other things, so like speech, or like keeping eye contact, or even social cues.
Yeah, that's a very good description of
or
autism.
Or even like using their hands for different things.
Yeah. I've met so many wonderful people who have autism spectrum disorder, or you may hear it called ASD sometimes. And the whole reason they say spectrum is because it is a wide spectrum, kind of what you were saying. Like maybe it's someone who is really, really independent and they don't need a lot of help, or maybe they do need more help. Like maybe, I think you just mentioned, like with talking or doing day-to-day things. So I appreciate you sharing, what you want people to know about autism. Do you feel like change can be hard for someone who has autism?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I kind of change it up a little bit, but most of the time I just stick to the same schedule.
Yeah. Routine's important.
Yeah, routine. And like if somebody says they're like gonna do something and like it's canceled, I might get upset, or just kind of like shut down.
Yeah. And I think that's normal for a lot of people too. I mean, I think if I have something that's coming up in my life and it suddenly gets canceled, of course there's going to be like some type of disappointment. But I think you've shared with me before that it's a little bit harder for you because of you having autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say, if you get upset, you've used the word triggered before. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Like if somebody were to like do something, it would automatically make me feel like a certain way. So like, let's say like somebody were to come into my room, I automatically like get triggered to like do something. So like obviously either yell, or like obviously I wouldn't push someone, but like maybe I have in the past. Can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just it's important for you, it sounds like, to know what is planned and what is expected. And if something unexpected happens, it's a little hard to work through that.
Yeah, so kind of like if you were to go to a place that you know that has flashing lights,
Mm-hmm.
and then like something were to happen at like your house where the lights start automatically like start just flashing all over, it's kind of like hard for me to like, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I remember you've told me. So another thing that Xavier likes to do is go to Skate City. So roller skating. Is it roller skating or rollerblading?
You can do either one. Rollerblading is like where you have like 4 wheels, or some people have 3, like in like a straight line.
Yep.
And then there's somewhere it kind of like creates a square.
And which one do you do? Roller skating or rollerblading?
It's way easier for me.
I will probably fall if I tried rollerblading, but for another time.
It works out your ankles.
So going back to the lights thing, like you've told me when you go to Skate City and the lights are changing or they're flickering, or it's kind of almost like feels like you're going to like us older folks, I want to say nightclub, right?
Oh.
But when you go there, the lights are changing and everything, and like you know that that's expected when you go to Skate City. But when you're saying when you go back home and suddenly like the lights aren't working, or maybe there's like a power thing happening and the lights are flickering at home, it's unexpected, and that's a little hard for you.
Actually, the power shut down at my house maybe a week ago, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, because I was just playing my games, and it was on a console, and the lights just, and I got very frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I was in a game, and it was kind of like, it's not important, but it was important to me, obviously.
I hear you.
Kind of got triggered.
Yeah.
By it.
Yeah. But you worked through it.
Yeah.
Right? And you were okay once the power came back on.
Yeah.
Just in the moment, I think things that sounds like you would want people to know about autism is that if change happens, to make sure that maybe you either give the person space or you support them however it works for them. I mean, how does that work for you? Like if you get triggered, what works best for you?
I mean, like taking a break, maybe a nap, maybe having an apple, which I don't really eat, like an apple. I'd probably have chips.
Chips.
Yeah.
I would
you
choose
have
chips.
To, you have to say apple.
Oh, okay.
You have to say
why, kind of going on that whole routine thing, why is routine important to you?
Because I feel like once you get in the routine of doing something for a long time, like to automatically just change that up and start doing everything differently, I think some people can get upset by that. Or even me, like I come home, I do my chores, stuff. But if I were to come home, we would automatically leave, and I don't know where we're going. That would trigger me because I could have been doing my routine and then like doing my chores, then playing my video games, and then having dinner, and then going back to doing whatever I was doing.
I hear you. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing why routine's important to you. Kind of shifting gears a little bit, what do you feel like, what makes it hard to do well in school as someone who has autism?
Sometimes I can't really focus, and it's kind of like, for me, it's hard to stay like still in like one place. So like teachers are having us like write an essay or something, or write something down. Like I just think about actually going outside and doing something or building something, because I just like building things.
Yeah, you like to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even it's like with your chair right now. So before we got started, we were trying to figure out like the perfect chair, right? And this chair is great for you because you can kind of move a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck where I'm at, right? But it works for you in this moment, and it's making you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we're talking about school, would you say that sometimes people don't know that you have autism because we're talking about invisible disability?
Yeah, sometimes I think like people don't know I have it, but obviously like sometimes people might see it or maybe think I have something, but most of the time they don't really see it at school.
Yeah, because it's invisible. You can't always see it, right? Like you were saying. Can it be hard for you to learn new things at school?
Yeah, so at school, it's kind of like, I feel like when I'm learning something, like, I try and figure out where I'm going to use this in life and how it's going to affect me, because I'm not sure what calculus is going to do.
I think a lot of people might feel like that someday.
I don't know where I'm going to use calculus.
I hear you.
Maybe if I'm like, I can't even think of a job that uses calculus. Maybe a scientist.
Would you say math is a subject that is easy for you or hard for you?
I actually used to like math.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk to somebody that likes math, talk to my little brother.
Sounds good. Maybe for another episode some other time. When we're talking about school, what do you feel like teachers can do to help make your day easier?
So they might like write down notes.
Mm-hmm.
So like they'll have like pre-written notes for the lesson today. And my teachers actually have like slideshows for like the whole class, but obviously I'm one of the kids has it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can just go into the slideshow and it has like every single thing you did today. So like if you don't want to write something down, he just says you can go back in there, and it has like calculus or transformation, reflection. I don't know how.
But like
Yeah.
it's almost like it's like things for you to follow step by step.
Yeah.
And that seems to work better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that class is pretty good, and it's for math. So
And it's for math. Are there things that teachers can do at school that could upset you because maybe it's just not what works best for you?
So actually, this happened where I was sitting at my table,
Mm-hmm.
and my table was talking, and she kind of got mad at all of us,
Mm-hmm.
even though I wasn't really doing anything. I might have been like talking, but like I kind of got in trouble because it was on literacy, and we were supposed to be doing independent reading.
Yeah.
I don't like independent reading, but yeah, I mean, like I got blamed for something I really didn't do.
Hmm.
It kind of like made me mad or frustrated.
Yeah. That's hard, I think, if I could see how, because just talking with you,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm just having a regular conversation with Xavion, but like in a learning environment, like in school,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes maybe it's maybe people don't remember that you need a little bit extra support, or maybe things would be easier for you in other ways. So I could see how school could be a little tricky at times if you're not getting everything you're needing to make your day easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. What do you feel like makes it hard to make a friend? Like if we're talking about how you have autism and it's an invisible disability, what do you feel like makes it hard to make a friend?
Actually going up to them and talking to them, because I might not know what to say,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody might make fun of me for what I said, and then automatically saying I don't want to be friends with this person on what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like the friends I have now, I obviously had a friend, and then they introduced me to this specific friend group,
Mm-hmm.
and we all like became all around friends.
Yeah. With some other people I know who have autism, they've said that being in social settings could be a little tricky at times. Do you feel that way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it might feel like awkward, like not knowing like, wow, I cannot talk.
You're doing great.
Trying to like figure out on what to say, and like trying to actually like figure out what's not gonna make this person upset, and knowing what not to say
Mm-hmm.
and what to say. So like the wording.
Mm-hmm. It's like hard to read. I think people sometimes call them like social cues.
Social cues, yeah.
Is that so that you feel like that's kind of hard for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be hard for a lot of people too. Like figuring out like when's the right time to say a certain thing, because you may not want to make someone upset or offend them or whatever it is. But making friends is hard in general. But I think from what you've shared with me, as a young man who has autism, it kind of adds like an added layer to being a little bit more tricky at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all good.
Yeah.
All good. It sounds like you do have some really great friends right now in your life, which I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
That's great. How do you feel like friends can be supportive of you?
I mean, like, we're all around supportive of each other. Because, like, okay, so my friend has, like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And, he kind of, like, went away from this person or, like, broke up. So we kind of, like, supported him. We maybe played video games with him.
Yeah.
Or just hang out with him, make him feel better.
Yeah. So it's like how you're being a supportive friend to him, right?
Yeah, and then he gives it right back.
And he gives it right back. That's great. So it's kind of like an equal partnership.
Yeah.
To equally support your friends.
Yeah.
And they support you.
Yeah.
That's great. What would you say are some things that make you happy or calm?
I would say what makes me happy is video games. And what makes me, like, happy or, like, calm is taking naps. Because I feel like taking naps, it just feels good.
Yeah. Helps you reset, right?
Yeah.
You're going to take a nap as soon as we're done, I'm sure, right?
Nah.
No?
I wish.
It's not in your routine, right?
No.
Yeah. So it won't be nap time this evening, but I'm sure you're going to sleep really well tonight. We've talked a little bit about this before in the past. When someone tells you, use your coping skills, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
When somebody says coping skills, like, it triggers me, like, saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do these coping skills. But when somebody says, go take a break, now, that's what not trigger me. So, like, for most people, that's what trigger them, and they want them to do coping skills, want them to say coping skills, but for me, it says break. Because coping skills, like, for me, say, like, take deep breaths, or count to 10, or count back from 10, like 10, 9, 8. Yeah, but for break, that means, like, just relax.
Got it.
Or do something.
Yeah. Would you say, and maybe you don't have the answer to this, because for you, it sounds like as a person with autism, if someone says use your coping skills, it may not turn out so great. Would you say other people you know who have autism, if they said use your coping skills, how do they feel?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's person to person, right?
Yeah.
So individual to you, if someone were to say use your coping skills, it wouldn't go across so well. But take a break or count backwards from 10, I think it is. Like, those are things that work better for you, it sounds like. Kinda?
Kinda. I mean, it depends on, like, the situation.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I mean, situations and, like, what's happening varies.
That totally
from, like,
makes sense.
Situation to situation.
I hear that. When we're talking a little bit about, autism and how it's an invisible disability, when do you feel safe sharing that you have autism?
So, like, for family, they would obviously know. But if, like, I were to, like, make a friend, I would have to obviously get to know them, see their background and what they talk about. Like, if they're more open and talk about, like, family, what's going on, like, I feel, like, more comfortable with sharing that. Because obviously if he's telling personal stuff, then if I tell personal stuff, it's kind of like, like, I guess bonding.
Yeah.
Like, talking to each other.
I hear that. I mean, we've talked before, too, about, like, how you feel like you wouldn't always feel safe sharing anything about your disability if it's someone who you don't really know. Or, like, I think we've talked about how, like, if you were to go to a grocery store and you needed a little bit more help, you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing with, like, the person working at the grocery store, like, I have autism and doing this, buying this thing is hard for me. Like, you wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. How come?
I feel like people, like, sorry, my eyes. I think I have an eyelash.
You make a wish.
Yeah.
When you find the eyelash, you make a wish.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, so we were talking about, like, if you were to go to a grocery store.
Yeah.
And you've shared with me before that you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing that you need extra support as someone with autism, as someone who doesn't know you have autism.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you wouldn't feel comfortable saying to, like, someone at a grocery store that I need to buy this item, but I'm having trouble counting the money to pay for my thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I need some extra support. And
Mm-hmm.
you said that you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Well, I obviously wouldn't do that because, I mean, like, it's obviously somebody I don't know. It's a stranger, and I don't know how they're going to react, or if they're going to snicker or laugh, or if they're just going to be cool about it and help me.
Yeah.
But then again, they also might tell a person, and then those person might tell another person, and then, like, that person could know somebody I know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it kind of...
So it's kind of like a fear of the wrong person knowing.
Yes.
And then someone else in your life who may not know that you currently have autism and you're not ready for them to know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that. All in due time. I mean, you do things on your own path and what makes sense to you. You know what I mean? I get it. Have there been times when people don't believe that you have autism because you don't see your disability?
Yep. My school.
Your school?
Yeah, so when they didn't believe my doctor's note saying I had autism spectrum disorder because I didn't act like it or talk like it, according to them, but I don't know what that's technically supposed to mean. Like, are we supposed to act a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure what they meant by that wording.
Yeah. How did that make you feel, like, not being believed by the school?
Well, I meant it felt very disturbing, or like, not disturbing, but like upsetting, because, I mean, it's on a doctor's note. Like, why wouldn't they believe that? But they would, like, say, nah, he doesn't need this support, he doesn't need this, or this, because we don't think he has this. But, I mean, it's on the paper. Like, call up my doctor.
Yeah. I could see how that could make you not feel so great.
Yeah.
Because you're a very smart guy.
Yeah.
And I could imagine that you want to do really well in school.
Yes.
And if you're not getting everything that you need to make it so that school is top notch for you, you're not getting a very good education.
No.
So hopefully, have things improved a little bit for you?
Yeah, I switched schools.
Okay. And things are going better at your new school?
Actually, yeah.
Yes. I love hearing that. That's great news.
Yeah.
That's great news. What is something that you wish more people knew about you as a young man with an invisible disability?
Really nothing. It's that it might take longer for us to, like, understand things. Like, some people could be, like, fat or, like, more, like, energetic. Or, like, for me, like, I'm obviously, like, more kind of, like, chill.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, can maybe talk to people. Depends on who it is. Like, obviously, I wouldn't talk about my disability. But, I mean, no, not really.
No?
No.
Other than you're an entrepreneurial young man who is a whiz at the Rubik's Cube. For those of you who may not be able to see it, if you want to hold it up, he has a Rubik's Cube that he's really good at.
Yeah.
I personally am not good at a Rubik's Cube, but it's something that you also carry along with you to kind of, like, help you kind of feel good each day, or if like you need to kind of like be moving your hands because you've said that it's hard for you to just hold still. So
Yeah.
I hope that one day maybe you'll be in like the Guinness Book of World Records for
Oh, no.
never. Never.
The
Well,
world record's like 3 seconds.
3 seconds?
3 seconds.
Okay, well, work up to 2.5 maybe, right?
No.
I have a few more questions for you. So why do you think people with disabilities should be included?
Because, I mean, like, not everyone, like, people with disabilities might not be, like, they might not feel included. Like, there's a couple of people at my school that have disabilities, and not everybody wants to invite them because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's kind of disrespectful and not okay, because, I mean, they want to play. They're humans like us.
Yeah.
Like, we're all people.
Yeah, and we want to make friends.
Yeah.
And we want to be invited and included.
Yeah.
It makes me think about, like, if you're a parent who has a kid who doesn't have a disability, to teach your kids about disability and talk about it and make sure people are included, whether or not, I guess it kind of, I don't know. It goes back to, like, making sure everyone's included, right? And so, like, not excluding someone from a birthday party, for example, just because maybe they use a wheelchair or one of the other, like, devices you were talking about earlier. I think it's important that all kids are included and that we educate our community about why it's important people with disabilities should be included. And I think that's everywhere, right? That's work, that's school, that's hobbies, that's, what else? Video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. His beloved video games. So I think if someone's hearing us talk, it's super important to, share how we feel or what we want. And speaking up means using our words, like you're speaking up today and sharing your story about what it's like as a young man with autism and how people can sometimes make you feel, or what people can do to improve, to help your everyday look even better and feel better. So I think everyone has their own special way of speaking up, and today's day was Xavion's way of speaking up and sharing his story and his voice. How do you speak up for yourself beyond today?
Maybe start like a channel on like YouTube and talk about like my adventures of having this.
I love that.
Autism. Maybe people will watch it and like get inspired. Or, like, some people might obviously be like me with an invisible disability and start their own stuff, like a YouTube channel or sing or, whatever they want.
Whatever it looks like. Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to your entrepreneurial spirit, right? Like, you're even thinking of ideas of how you can educate the community about disability and what people can do to change their own mindset and make sure that everyone's included. So maybe I'll see you as a famous YouTube star in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Here's for dreaming. Well, speaking of dreaming, do you have any goals or dreams for the future that you'd like to share?
In my whole lifetime, I at least want to make $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
I love that. How do you think you'd make $1 million?
With my idea I'm not going to share.
With the super top secret idea that we don't know about. I'm going to hold you to it. So hopefully his super grand idea will be really successful, and then you'll make your first $1 million. And this will be like the first podcast glimpse of where it all began.
Yeah.
Well, Xavion, I really appreciate you being here with me today. Do you have anything else that you want to share about invisible disability that you really want people to know before we close up our conversation?
Everybody's different. Not everyone has the same needs or needs the same thing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you sharing how you feel about things and letting folks know that people with disabilities should be included, and what we can do differently in our world to improve upon that in our society and our community. So thank you so much again for tuning in. We always appreciate everyone listening to our podcasts and vodcasts. And until next time, stay curious, and we'll see you again soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.